this would have happened over the summer?
Oh. USA.
Hello, everybody. This is Utopia, which is the child of 0 Hour, which is the child of No One Unscripted, which is the child of the Tribute Projects, which is my first baby. No, it's my second baby. My first baby was Pluto. It's a puppy I once had when I was a kid. This is Utopia, the first episode, Rebirth. And what I was watching right before I started this was the recorded video of the day. I'm watching it on NewsHour, and my great respect and love for Judy Woodruff, Lisa Desjardins, Yamiche Alcindor, and Amna Nawaz for their fearless, and I mean that literally fearless, and patriotic service to their country for reporting. And I just started watching the video, and everybody on the NewsHour team who stuck there, who reported in real time what was going on. I just started watching this part of it. I'm gonna go, I don't know for how long, but listen to me very carefully. This is my fourth video today, and I'm doing this because I must. And I think that this will be every single time we are re-traumatized by what happened on January 6th. I was going to write about Utopia, and what I really want to talk about today will be, I think, maybe one of the first things that we should address when President Joe Biden takes office. But before I really dive into this new life, this new world, this brave new world, we're going to be traveling together digitally, if we have to. And we're going to get through this together. And I think, because this is my fourth video, it's not like I care how I look anyway. But I think something crucial that you have to understand, that I don't think I would ever even consider wearing anything but a suit and a tie if I was ever to walk into the chambers of the Congress of the United States of America. So you can speed up the video if you're not watching in live stream. And if you're watching in live stream, well, you're fucked, because I talk slowly, and people have called me, my MAGA critics on my other videos have called me that I sound like Obama. It's like, if you think that's an insult, I mean, I guess I figured out why, you are don't know how to spell or know the difference between here and there, or here, like listen, So I'm not even going to get into it, but I think it's hilarious that they think it's an insult. It's the nicest thing anybody has ever said to me. I think I've said that already before in my previous video. I'm going through fucking the deja vu kind of thing. Anyway, it was them reporting, and I had to shut it off and start this. I want to ask a question, an honest question, and I don't know the answer to this. And if anybody knows the answer to this, please comment. How many members of Congress, or how many elected officials in cities, municipalities, states, and any level in the United States government, how many of them were in their childhood in the American foster care system, or how many were orphans who as children lived, not orphans after they reached adulthood or parents died at the age of 18, 19, although that's a very tough life as well, but children who grew up in orphanages across the country. And don't think there aren't any, there are many. Uh, they phase out of orphanages and go into the foster care system. And I want to know if there are any. And the reason why I asked that question is because I believe that the true measure of an equitable society is whether somebody from the foster care system of the United States can rise up to be the president of the United States, or even a representative, or even, and if there are representatives who have that story, I want them to come out and tell us that story. Because I think and I believe that I am able today, even as disabled as I may be in many, many ways, to talk to you and tell you my story without completely breaking, is because I had love, even for a little while in my life, real love, unconditional love, a love that would throw itself on you if somebody were to attack you, no matter what you had done, you know? And I think and I'm convinced that every single person in this world who has risen up and reached their full potential had a lot of love in their life. They had a lot of love in their life. And I think what we see today most perfectly manifested in the beast that Donald has turned into, both for himself, his all for himself, for his party, for his family, for the country, and in many ways for the world, that we'll see for years to come. And I'm convinced that there wasn't any love in his life, that he doesn't even know the meaning of real love. But it means to be loyal to something that's bigger than yourself, to be responsible for something that is other than yourself. And the reason why I started with that question of whether there are any elected officials in the United States government on any level, whether it be federal, state, municipality, whatever it is, who were at one point in their childhood in the American foster care system. Their stories would be very crucial because they will be able to tell you who loved them unconditionally and how important that was. And I talk about my nanny, and I've always been spiritual, and I grew up, like I said, following my grandparents around, specifically my grandmother, father's side, who I would just go and follow them to the little temple, little shrine we had at the top of our house. And now I do the same practice here in my father's house where I live with my father, who is 73, but he lives on the second floor. I live on the fourth floor. She would dhuno. We call it dhuno in Bengali. Dhuno is Indian frankincense. It's frankincense. I didn't really know it was frankincense until I looked it up. It's not. I don't think it's a frankincense. Maybe it is a frankincense they talk about in the Bible, but that the three wise men from the east bring for Jesus Christ. But it's frankincense, so it's dhuno for us. It's always used in the temple shrines. So and I did that. I did the third video, and I came back and I'm doing the fourth video, and I had to do that, and I had to eat, and the dogs had to do their thing, have their little soup and bread, They don't wake up by just hearing soup, because that happens a lot. They know the words, they know everything, they just don't listen to you. They probably know exactly what I'm talking about now too. Oh no, thank God they're sleeping. Okay. So, you think animals don't know what's going on? They know more than you think. And they probably know more than you know. Dogs sure as hell can smell better than you can, or I can. Exponentially better. And for my MAGA friends, exponentially means many times over. But we'll get to that, which is what the topic is today, is education. And it's not boring. It's not boring. On Twitter, Attribute Projects have tweeted out a couple of TED Talk videos and the story, a movie on Vimeo called, and it's not mine, it's a movie, it's by somebody else, called Born into Brothels. If you guys want to watch it, if you ladies want to watch it, uh, heroes of all sexes and genders and identities in that spectrum, between that spectrum, want to watch it, please do. What was that? This whole unscripted thing is really getting to me, but I'm not going to stop. Anyway, so education, and I posted those on Twitter, so check them out. Give you an idea of what the promise of children are and what they're capable of. And I believe that if they're given the freedom to learn, that they can do it themselves. Uh, something we need to address as we walk past this, what's happened, and really uh, address it at a very root core level, is to be able to educate people from the very beginning of cognition all the way up about the truth, about the good and the bad, everything. Let them decide after that. We need to do something about opinion shows and opinion pieces. Like maybe that should be the title of the newspaper if that's all they're doing. Because there's a difference between fact and opinion. We'll talk about all of that too. So I want to know what the measure of a good society is and how good our society is, really. And if any other country in the world wants to talk about it, any elected leader anywhere in the world who didn't have love in their life but still are where they are, I don't think there is one other than the dictators. They're and oppressive people, and people who are sociopathic and psychopathic and who have snapped beyond the point of any sort of redemption. I don't think they ever experienced true love, nor do they understand it. And love is the oxygen of oxygen. So, and what I mean by love, I mean by the notion of attraction is also love. To that extent, gravity is love. To that extent, everything is tied together with love, because everything is tied together with gravity, and the fabric of the universe that we now know is like these little subatomic whatever threadlings or quantum threadlings, and a net and a mesh and a matrix and such wonderful dynamic things. But all of that needs to be revealed to the kids. And the best way to do it, turns out, as Professor Sugato Mitra from, I think, Newcastle University talks about in his TED Talk from 7 years ago, is that all you have to do is give the kids internet and guide them towards what direction to go, and in terms of learning, and they will navigate and learn it. They may not know what it means, and that's what we are here to tell them. But the human brain, as it turns out, the young human brain can do some things that's so much more complex than any computer can ever do. It can consolidate information and process it and come up with a free will quotient that is unique to the signature of that one particular person. And that's why there are artists and writers and these people who shine, and It's like the diamonds from all that pressure from millions of years. But what are diamonds? It's just completely compressed and crystallized coal. And what is coal but the dead refuse of our past millions of years ago? So, education. And a little story about the education system that we follow, the Anglican one, because it's the only one that I've ever been a part of. In India and in the United States, it's based on the Anglican, the English, and the imperialist way of learning things. And it's a very standardized way of doing things. And it was instituted in many ways through the reign of Queen Victoria to be able to standardize the education system, which was the system of information, learning, also propaganda, also just the white man's history from the white man's perspective. A lot of which I learned. And the white man is not, doesn't, this fact that I'm saying Queen Victoria and then the white man, you see this supremacy paradigm that is driven largely by men is not really necessarily about the gender men and women as it is for the masses. It's the paradigm, it's the ideology and the playing field, uh, which is the supremacy and the sociopathy and sociopathy of power and influence that you can cloak in velvet and call it legacy. And that's what monarchies were. So, and children, that is, I think, and one day I'll tell you the story of an experience I had about what happened with the foster system. But I want to hear these stories, if there are any, of any elected member of our Congress or any elected official anywhere in the world who is from the foster system or who came out of the orphanages, any orphanage anywhere. Because it's your story that most needs to be heard. And we need to model a world where instead of railing behind propaganda about a woman's right to choose, we take care of the children who are already here. And because I mean, you don't know how many diamonds are falling by the wayside, how much potential lies in the unexplored youth, the untapped knowledge, and the potential of children who are neglected and often innocent bystanders in the lives of others, their families and schools and authority figures, and are abused and they grow up bruised and the ego creates defenses. All you have to do is put a computer there and give them access and internet and guide them. Maybe one day with a geography lesson and games, maybe one day with practicals, sometimes with people there, sometimes with teachers, sometimes not. Have remote education systems, schools, temporary stations, do it in public places where orphans, do it in orphanages, do it in foster care community centers that are focused in the development of these children. If you really want to rail about reproductive rights, get the state to get the medical technology ready so they can take the child from the woman's womb if the woman doesn't want to bear the child and keep the child alive through artificial and medical technology and then raise them as the ward of the state. And then the day that that person becomes president of the United States, that will be the day I will know that the mission of the United States will have finished its domestic reparation. We'll talk about many other things But I'll leave it at that for this one. This is Utopia signing off. And no more videos. I've done 4 or something today. I don't know how many minutes of video time. So I love you. E pluribus unum. And we're going to get through this together. Ta-ta. See, can you see? That's the she. That's the girl sleeping over there, if you can see. And the boys, oh, you can see, yeah, right there. I'm wearing pants, half pants, shorts. Don't think I'm nudie. Although, I mean, you see them? They're my angels. My angels. Okay, ta-ta.